Hello, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the coffee break. I can see that a couple of you are still in there, so feel free to join us whenever you want. All good to start? Cool. So, thank you very much for joining us today. Together with these three beautiful ladies, we will be discussing about enhancing customer experience from strategy to tactics. My name is Alex. I'm the CEO of Digitalya, and I will let you introduce yourself, not to butcher your names. But before that, I just need to make two statements. So first of all the ideas and the content that will be discussed today are individual and own personal point of views. And as you can see in there, I'm sitting on the AMD Sermo. I'm not from AMD Sermo, but for the people that don't know, it's the Merck Global in the United States. Cool. Now that we made these two small announcements, Anna, maybe you can start the introduction.
Yep. Hi, I'm Anna Hessenbruch. I'm the Associate Director of Customer Engagement Strategy and Customer Experience in the global team at Novo Nordisk.
Hi, this is Cicek, Aydin, Tilley. I am the Director of Marketing at the HIV division of EMD Serono.
Thanks for having me. I'm Shima Healey. I'm Omnichannel lead at Takeda.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Let's start. And the first question will be, what are the strategies and tactics to create a good customer experience access to the organization? And Cicek, maybe you can start first.
Yeah, I'll take this one.
From strategy.
So, I think let's bring it back to the strategy first before we go into the tactics, because I think it's like super critical to have the right strategies first before you select which tactics can really support those strategies, right? So we need to do our work and due diligence from the beginning, collect insights, collect customer insights, do our market research, advisory boards, field intelligence, data analytics, everything that we can possibly do to figure out what we need to do first. And then we can figure out the how, which is the tactic, right? Mm-hmm. And tactics can vary depending on what you want to accomplish. So if I were to give you an example, in previous years, we said, oh, we're going to increase the depth of breadth and of our prescribers as a strategy, right? And then the more we found out about our customers and what they do, and we mapped all of our HCP journeys, HCP segmentation, patient journey, and we've said, you know, we could do a lot more efficiently and cost effectively. So we changed and tweaked our strategy a little bit, and we said, you know what, we're only going to go after the high potential prescribers because that makes so much more sense. We can spend a lot less money and make a lot more money in return, right? Have a better return of investment. Then we determine who our high potential customers are, who have the potential to write more, volume-wise. And then we looked at also who is writing our competitive products, although we're the only FDA-approved product in my division that you know, we promote, but there's a lot of off-label usage of other products. So we understood who's writing off-label, how much, and who has the potential to do more. So then it's easy to select the tactics. Okay, to reach out to this specific segment of physicians, what can we do? Some are covered by our representatives, some aren't. So we said, okay, let's do a non-personal promotion that is very targeted, very focused, and we don't have to spend a ton of money. We don't have to promote it to 5,000 physicians. We can only promote it to 2,000 physicians and do more. And I can tell a little bit more about that non-personal promotion, but let's leave the word to my colleagues first.
Thank you. Shima, maybe you can go next.
Yeah, I'd like to share a story, actually, that resonates with me personally a lot when it comes to strategy and building tactics. Now, I'm going to ask a question from audience, and I want to see if anyone is familiar or read the book that says, will it make the boat go faster? Is anyone familiar with the concept? Oh, someone in the back. Excellent. Oh, two? Okay, well, don't worry. I'm going to tell you the story. It's a very quick story. But basically, in 1998, Ben Hunt Davies was part of the British rowing team that was underachieving, rather. So they were competing in Olympic Games in 1992 and 1996, and both times they came last. Go England. So after the latest failure, they came together and said, well, we want to look at strategy and win the gold in the next Olympics. And that strategy was based around one very simple fact or concept that was, will it make the boat go faster? So if there was like a decision that they had to make, if it was helping them to achieve that goal, they'd say yes. So for example, if they needed to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning, squeeze in another hour of training, yes, they would do it. And if it was something that was putting them off track, they would ditch that idea. So if they wanted to go for a couple of pints in the bar, in the pub afterwards, they would know it's not like helping them or help the boat go faster, so they would ditch that idea. And that strategy ultimately led them to win the Olympics, Sydney Olympics in 2000, and win the gold medal. But bringing it back to the farmer and the customer experience, and you would say, like, how does this how does this translate into what we do? So I would say, like, from my perspective, I would really say that in the same way, our strategies really need to be built on a simple concept, like, will this enhance our customers' experience? And you can adjust it based on, the different strategies that you have. And it's really, a lot of it is about building that, the strategy, the mindset, the tactics that are following that, the customer experience. And you might say, like, how do we know that the tactic is being, bringing that customer experience back? And I would say, like, obviously, like, the simple response is, like, looking at the data. And with data, I think, like, some of our colleagues mentioned it earlier today, like, looking at that 360 degree of our customer view, where we can see how they behave, how they made a decision. And that's why, I guess, like, at Takeda, we've developed or rolling out soon a CDP. So it's like a customer data platform where we can see, like, that 360 view, where we can see, like, how our customers are reacting to specific tactics. Are they happy? Are they engaging well? And also, like, just like automating a lot of that process and seeing if something is, like, really resonating with our HCPs.
Very much. Anna?
Yeah, so I'll just talk a little bit about, I joined Novo Nordisk's global team just over a year ago, and my role was new to look at the global customer experience strategy. I joined Novo Nordisk from outside the pharma sector, so everything pharma has been relatively new to me. And the first question that I had was, well, what is the customer experience today? And so what I went in and looked at was, well, there's things that everyone already knows, which is HCPs are extremely stressed. They have way too much to do and not enough time to do it in. Every pharma that could possibly be relevant to them is trying desperately to grab their attention. And what we saw when we looked at the data was that at Novo Nordisk, we have products in several therapy areas, but actually our target customers are all the same. We're generally trying to go after PCPs, endocrinologists, and cardiologists. Mm-hmm. And so we have a broad portfolio of products that are creating these hyper-personalized journeys, and they're doing all their market research, and they're throwing loads of money at it. But at the end of the day, what they're not looking at is how all those different customer journeys layer on top of each other. Because we're all trying to get those KOLs, we're all trying to get those customers who are, the best target for our message. But what you don't look at is zooming out. What is that broader customer experience? They don't care if it's obesity or diabetes or this brand or that brand that's trying to reach out to them. They're experiencing that as one overarching experience. And so what we see is that KOLs and really high importance customers are being totally bombarded and overwhelmed and are getting a really poor customer experience because they don't have the time to engage in that level of detail. And the customers who are less important to us, such as pharmacists or nurses or the ones that we don't sort of consider high prescribers, may be giving us consent, may be keen to learn more about our products, and we're not serving them because we haven't decided that they're a valuable customer group. And so a big part of this piece of work that I've done is to say, well, we know that we want to be able to give all of our customers a great experience because that's what's going to bring them back. That's what's going to make them return to our HCP portals or whatever, take the meeting with a rep, etc. And so how do we look at our portfolio writ large? Instead of looking at everything through a brand lens, how do we look at things through a customer lens? And a lot of that also speaking to what you said, we have to hang our hats on data. Is the data good enough? Is it clean? Is it governed well? Do we have a single customer view? Can we actually tell how all these messages are landing and at what time? How can we analyze how effective that is? So we're on a journey at the moment, and I'll be talking more about that journey tomorrow in a different panel. But essentially, it starts with what is that overarching strategy, and as Cicek already said, that's going to lead to the tactics.
Yeah. I can actually now add on that MPP very well on top of Anna's conversation because, again, I think it's so important to understand what your customers want and where they are at. Again, zoom out and look at the overall customer experience, and that's why being targeted is so important. And understand what your customer wants is important. A lot of the panels have already covered this topic, but relevance is important. Your content's relevancy is extremely important. I mean, yes, AI is nice to have, but we can actually figure things out without AI too, as marketers, So what we found out that our customers were looking up to thought leaders in our industry where we serve HIV patients. And we said, okay, let's talk to some of the thought leaders and have one of them endorse our non-personal promotional campaign. It was a multi-channel campaign, which we wanted to turn into more of an omni-channel next, because now we have all the KPIs. We've learned so much from the program, and we've done multiple different things to a very targeted group of physicians that were very open to hear from the thought leader and what he has to say about the disease state as well as our product. And we have had a phenomenal 12-to-1 return of investment on a net profit basis. But we can even optimize this further with our now dashboard. We looked at which banners performed well, which newsletters performed well, which emails performed well, what kind of messages performed well, what kind of topics they paid more attention to, and they, browsed our microsites. So now the next phase for us is really to optimize it and turn it into a pull strategy rather than a push strategy, as they said. So I think, AI is nice, but we could do without that too.
Thank you. You were mentioning about leadership. Basically, all the three of you are running different programs within your organization. How do you manage to secure leadership support for those programs? And how do you get them on board to understand the real meaning? And maybe we have 6 minutes more left, but maybe we can give a couple of insights about that as well.
Yeah, I'll do a quick thing. We acknowledged as well that customer experience is something that people love to say yes to in theory. And so a lot of leaders will say, oh yes, the customer experience is super important, and then budgeting season comes around and it's like, oh, well, what's the ROI on that? And so one of the things that was very, very important for us was to also say, okay, Novo Nordisk is a very big, sprawling organization, and there's so many stakeholders across lots of different teams. So we've set up what we've called the Enterprise Omnichannel Task Force, which is our CVPs or commercial vice presidents, corporate vice presidents across data and IT, corporate strategy, international operations, medical, lots of different stakeholders together in a room to get that portfolio view and say, okay, what is our ambition in customer experience? What are the people, processes, platforms that we need to have in order to get us from here to there? And then all those people in the room together essentially help to take decisions and move us on the roadmap that we've got set out. And that's been a huge, huge step, because it's not just about leadership, that's super important, but it's also about alignment, because there are lots of people with important opinions that they want listening to. So how do you get that overarching view? And that's been very helpful.
I love the, I'm going to steal the idea of the Omnichannel
Go for
task
it.
force. I love it. We're doing something very similar at Takeda, but it's called a feast, like it's a marketing feast. And yes, we call it feast because there's food in there involved as well. We're starting with a lunch because you need to incentivize people to join some of these conversations. But like it's a similar approach, like we're sharing a lot of like learnings, but also like failures, or when people come to these meetings wanting solutions from their colleagues or peers. And personally, I felt like there has been, I'm sitting in a group that is organizing these meetings, but also like felt like the sessions that have been most engaging and most helpful were the sessions where my colleagues were coming and sharing initiatives where they needed input from other, like whether they were stuck at some stage or they wanted to just like get other ideas from different, so that automatically encouraged that, the sharing and, and then through those networks you would hear more, and that, comes back to that whole cross-brand, cross-functional collaboration, that it's really difficult in other ways to bring all those people in one place. So I found that really helpful. And going back to your question, Alex, whenever I want to sell something, sell an idea, like I use the 4P framework. It's a slightly different, the 4Ps that you mentioned, but it's just like it's the simple problem. So you would go to your leadership, talk about the problem, and just like really focus on the negatives of what that's the current state is. And then it goes, the next step is obviously you're going to the process and the solution. So that's where you're obviously selling the how and saying what's in it for them. And then there is proof, and then last stage is the prompt, what you actually really want them to do. So really summarize that into I used it in like a lot of presentations, but just like I felt like that's really helpful for selling an idea or getting the buy-in from leadership.
Well, I have to say I've been very lucky, because I think it comes from top to bottom, right, sometimes? Or it's harder from bottom to top influence. I've been very lucky. I think customers are really the center of our business. And our leadership always talks about our patients, about how we can be of better service. And it's not just talk. A lot of companies talk about it, but we really don't just talk. We do a lot. We bring patients in to the company too. We bring them to town halls. We talk to them. And it's not just important for the sales team and marketing team to hear our customers. I think for everyone in the organization, from finance to accounting to forecaster, to hear our patients' stories and understand what they're going through is like super important for them to be more passionate about what they do day to day. And I am so grateful that we have created that environment where we are. And all the cross-functional teams really collaborate as one team and work like crazy with that passion of keeping those patients in mind. We have 4 divisions. Some patients really suffer a lot. We have neurology, oncology, fertility, and HIV. And it's important to understand what the patients are going through, as well as the physicians, because physicians have a lot of burden too, especially when it comes to treating deadly diseases, right? Their psychology is important too. Where they look up for more information is important too, because those fields are also very innovative and ever-changing fast. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for your input. I don't believe we have time for questions, but you can find the ladies around, and you can approach them personally for further discussions. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.